Good evening, good afternoon, good day, depending on where you're at. Hope everyone's well. Happy New Year. First stream of the new year. Gonna kind of go with the low and slow and upstate New York down to Massachusetts and Rhode Island. Everyone's well this evening. There we go. Got the chat bot working properly. Good evening to Papa Joe. Just watching for now, may jump in later. Awesome, my dude. I saw you were flying the trip earlier, and yeah, there's some hills. Randy Hurst is here, ready for the journey. Glad you're here. Peter Fast P84 is here. Good evening to you, sir. Noel's here. Good evening. Kingsman and Red Dragon are both here. Good evening to you as well. It's going to be a fun, scenic little trip. Decided that, you know, having a nice New England journey might be a fun idea. Get to see some of the terrain and not so flat area. And trying to take out planes that I'm not accustomed to flying so much. And that would be the X-Cub. Not something I'm super familiar with flying other than, you know, the Savage Cub, but figured I'd give it a whirl. This is just the bone stock version, so nothing fancy going on here. With that being said, we can get this party started. Mixture, throttle cracked, switch. Nah. Strobe. It's definitely not a choice that I make often, but I thought I'd give it a whirl. Clear prop. Go. He's a quiet one, that's for sure. So we'll let her warm up for a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and get our initial settings for the autopilot set. Go with let's go with 3900, or well, yeah, let's just stick with that. Vertical speed. Well, if we have to hand fly it, we hand fly. Won't be anything abnormal. So Yeah, aha, that would probably do it. Flight director. There we go. Vertical speed. Awesome. So, let's say we get rolling. Happy Sunday to everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Recovering from New Year's celebrations. Dougal McTavish is in the house. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, taking out the X-Cub for once. Not something I'm off to do, but figured I'd give it a whirl for once, since everybody seems to like it. We'll come down here and we'll do the old Yui. Set on the runway heading. And let's slowly add some throttle. And let's get airborne. So we're taking off from Schroon Lake, New York. Or at least we're trying to. My goodness. And right off the bat, Flight Sim decides to die. That was odd. It's been doing so well. So give me just a moment to reboot. At least it didn't take OBS with it. And we didn't get too far into things. This was an AMD related one, believe it or not. It's all good. These things happen. We shall persevere. Good evening, Murphy. Good to see you here. Had a good start to the stream, and then right off takeoff, Flight Sim decided it wanted to not cooperate, so we're giving her another bash. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Bad Dog is in and lurking today. That's quite all right. Happy Sunday to you as well, Murph. Murph's been cranking out the videos over the last few days. Put out a preview of the beginning of the USA tour that begins tomorrow over on his YouTube channel. Alright, so let's try this again. Gonna add fuel. Alright, so I'm gonna go Schroon Lake. Two, three. Few clouds. Set to good. Good. Try this one more time. And I guess you do need to use flaps with this one. It's just counterintuitive because it shouldn't really need to, but apparently you do. Weather and time. I do believe I was supposed to set the time to 0800 in sim. I'm going to go ahead and do that now while I remember. And few clouds. So we'll do this as a take two. There's Dougal and Pete. Alright, let's try this again. Really don't feel like I'm getting the full engine oomph out of this thing, and I'm not sure why. There we go. Sim did me a confuse. Yes it is. So we're gonna just circle a little bit. So we're going to be flying into Massachusetts from here. Yeah, Schroon Lake, New York. There's a camp up here that a couple of my family members were at in college. Well, I say camp, it's a college of sorts. And they were up here for a while, and it's a pretty part of the country. So I figured, why not? So we'll fly over the lake a little bit, and then we're going to get the autopilot set. And the flight director on. Stop redlining the engine. We're gonna have dude and vertical speed 5, and then AP. So welcome to upstate New York. We left off Murphy Stream a little west of, a bit west of here. By a bit west of here, I mean quite a bit west, but more towards the Niagara area. Yeah, specifically Syracuse. Flying the Goose, and now we're flying the Cub. I guess it helps to set the CDI correctly. If I can figure out how to. I wonder if you have to choose. Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm giving it a shot. I don't usually fly the X-Cub. But I wanted to give it a shot for once. So we're going to keep her slow as we go over the mountains. flying through a little bit of clouds. Just the happiest little airplane that there ever was. As we have Fast Pete on our right wing. Get ready for a turn. I'm only using the bone stock version, especially because I don't usually fly this anyway. And it seems enough of a plane in and of itself that I didn't feel the need to upgrade it. Yeah, the Cub is such a versatile platform since the J3 Cub was introduced. It's gone through so many different changes and updates and modernizations, and it's such a versatile platform. Nice. We're going to keep it at about 3,900 to 4,000 feet. So we're keeping it low. If we have to maneuver through mountains, we'll do that as they show up. So we're not going too high and we're not going very fast. In fact, we're already going faster than I had intended. I love to fly just about anything in real life at this point in time. Mahoney needs pizza. The good thought. There's Magic 888, Dougal McTavish, Commandant Muttley, Kingsman, Rand Pilot Randy, Red Dragon, Fast Pete, all with us today. As we explore beautiful upstate New York. So we're actually heading away from the Adirondack Mountain. Magic 888 is in the chat. Welcome, good friend. Glad you can make it. Kingsman, there are different aircraft or airport codes. It's CAR 1, 2, 3, and a couple other ones. The app that it comes with will give you the locations of them in the menu, one of the menus. So it'll give the airport codes. See, after recent driver update, I've got shimmers and even a rollback. That's unfortunate, Dougal. Cloud. Not a problem. Yeah, the app, when you connect it, the app itself does is enable the catapult and the arresting wires or the arresting cables. That's all the app really does. the scenery just it gets installed on its own. Certainly is, Randy. Every now and then I make a reasonable decision on where to fly. Look at that. This is Lake George. And we'll soon be overflying Lake Champlain. I was flying around New York and could not. Yeah, they tucked it into a harbor. It's a lot easier to find the New York one and the Key West one. The San Francisco one's a ways out in the ocean. I have not tried the one in Dubai and the fifth one that I can't recall where it's at right now. I've landed at the 3 here in the U.S. Have not yet gone to the ones outside. Nice. Yeah, I think it's southwest of Manhattan, in a bay. Oh dear. Mahoney has some lost carriers in the desert. Let's see, you used to have 50 flying carriers. I don't think I ever found that one. I have a feeling that they're going to continue to add more carriers here and there. It'd be neat to see one in Pearl Harbor, one near NAS Oceana, which is by Virginia Beach. So yeah, I have a feeling they'll periodically add more and more, and as it develops that they're able to make the carriers better, they'll do just that, because so far they're a lot of fun. Kingsman, what aircraft and where did you download them from? Was it from the marketplace? That would be even cooler. once we get Corsairs and Wildcats and Hellcats and such. That would be awesome. SimFlight. Make sure that you don't have a folder in a folder. Because every time that there's an update to the Eurofighter, it catches me. I go to put the folder in and it's the wrong folder. I need to put the folder that's in the folder in the community folder. But I'm really excited with the whole carrier thing. I've been having a little fun with some Tomcats. Or a little bit of flatter lands, and we're getting back into the mountains now. Absolutely, Murph. Cannot wait for that F-15 though. That's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to the F-15. Well, if you pop over to the Murphy Discord, you might be able to help out with that. Maybe do a screen share or something, get it all worked out. Scotland 737 Project is here. Welcome. Mahoney, I do too. It's something I converted on my own and wouldn't share outside of myself, or at the very most a select few, but it's not my work, so distributing it, I can't justify distributing it. So I've played with an F-35, a Tomcat, a T-45, a few different things. It's pretty awesome. The Spitfire is gonna be awesome. I keep checking the marketplace for the Waco. I cannot wait. For that and the F-15 is just the two on my immediate. I really need them radar. Magic 888 zooms on by. Oh, absolutely. I have access to both, and the leather cap and the goggles to boot. So it looks like we may have some terrain avoidance to consider. Although we may just luck out. But since the altitude setting does that, oh, that is it. That is the only. Weird that it doesn't let me select 100 of feet in just the thousands of feet. That's problematic. Finish our nervous Christmas pudding with custard this time. Ooh. So we're gonna put a heading mode. Go to 140 for a little bit. So we can avoid the nice mountain that's in the way. Last thing we need is to give the Coast Guard a search and rescue case. Group of pilots fly airplanes into the side of a mountain tonight at 11. Nice calm morning flight. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Once we get past the mountains, we'll resume nav mode. But it won't be much past the mountains that we'll get to our first stop in Parlin, New York. New York, excuse me. That's not New York anymore. That, I believe, is house. Vermont. So we're in Vermont now, on our way to Parlin, which is just on the north side of Newport, Vermont. A nice small little airport. Just our speed. Where we'll have our very first landings of the evening, day, or what have you. Big Ears 60 is here. Good day to you. Hope you're well. Nice to see you. Glad you could make it. I have to say I really like the new. Yeah, I like them, but the black one looks so much better than the white one. The nice contrast of colors is much more prominent on the black ones for the beta testers and the alpha testers. So once we get past this ridge line, we will resume nav mode. Alright, so we're close enough that I think we can go ahead and resume nav mode. Keep an eye out for terrain. There's just something about flying in a group that's just a lot of fun with the formation flying and even just flying around and you seeing other airplanes. It's just, there's something about it that's just cool. Absolutely. Absolutely, big ears. And there's the turn back on course. Infidel Fireman is here. How you doing, sir? It certainly is magic. Beautiful countryside to fly in on a simulated Sunday morning. Khov Gaming is in. Hope you're well. So we should be coming up very shortly on our first stop of the day. It says we're about 25 miles out. About 15 minutes. No, 14 minutes. Uh-oh. Hate it when I go to fly and it doesn't turn out well. Oh dear, that pesky autopilot. Whoops. Hate it when that happens. So we should be good to go. Oh, hello. Beam me up, Scotty. Well, there you go. You at least you learn. That's what's important. Okay, so we've got that hill there. So our airport's going to be just before a lake. It might be before that sizable hill. We're gonna keep an eye on things and keep a lookout for the airport. I'll try to be the first one down, so that I can get a camera on the landings. Well, every place has their charms. You just gotta look for them. I haven't yet flown somewhere that I haven't liked. Yeah, I think this area is littered with little tiny airports. A lot of private ones too, tucked in between hills and such. Nice. Mount Rushmore, I haven't been there since the update, but there's some nice freeware scenery for that, and the Crazy Horse monument. Right. I didn't see them mention the Crazy Horse monument, but there's some nice freeware additions for that one at least. They did update Mount Rushmore. I just haven't been there yet. Merlin Fly will be waiting at 2 Bravo 3 to join. Excellent. We'll see you there. We're almost there, actually. But running. Oh, let's go with runway Go with runway 30 for funsies. So according to the charts, there is glider activity on this side of that hill. That's quite the standalone hill. So we're about to cross the Connecticut River. So on this side, there's a small town called Windsor. Not to be confused with the Canadian city of Windsor. And further that way into the sun, there will be Claremont. And then past Claremont will be our destination of Newport, Parlin Airport. So we are almost there. So I watched a video last night from one of the aviation related channels that I watch, Mover, CW Lemoyne, and he posted this a couple weeks ago. His first venture into MSFS VR, and there were a couple times he really reminded me of Murph because he looked over and saw fog over part of New Orleans, which is where he operates around. And he was just very enamored by the fog. Like, how cool is that? There's actual fog, and it looks like fog. So it was a kind of an amusing moment for me because it's just like, I know that feeling. This little small insignificant thing, and I'm finding quite a bit of, I'm finding it awesome. So it was kind of a cool moment. It could be the generic livery, or the, not generic. The Aviators Club livery. Aha, there you are. It's an extra download in the marketplace. Oh, AMD. It was going so well. Give us a few moments while Flight Sim comes back. That's something like that. No sense in being upset, just trucking on. Alright, so one more try. Can't see anybody. Thing. There's Merlin Flyer. That's... Well, since everybody's already there, I'll probably just start on the ground and put up, but I'm gonna do a thing while I'm in the menus. So, select arrival airport. South. Almost there. On flight sim. There we go. And of course it puts me at a fuel box. Cool. So let's get in here. Wayland is circling at 2 Bravo 3. We just got back in. It seems like most everybody is down that's gonna come down. So we'll just get mosey on along. Get this party going again. Fine. All right, let's get this party rolling. Ooh, there's a dip. This thing can pick up and go when it wants to. That's for sure. Kingsman, Wayland, and Randy are on the ground yet. It's a nice little airport. Quietly tucked away. Seems most everybody is in the air. So we're going to go ahead and activate autopilot. Kingsman is in the process of a reboot. Well, we don't plan to go fast, so I'm sure you'll be able to catch up. King Thunderbird is now following on Twitch. Many thanks, my friend. Do really appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the flight. Awesome. Hopefully it cooperates with you this time around. There you go. A nice short flight to test it out on. little flatter on this part of upstate New York, and or I should say Vermont now. We're going to make our way into Massachusetts and then into Rhode Island. So when we get to Southbridge, that'll be just on the north, or just north of Connecticut, almost by the state line, and we'll transition from there into Rhode Island, the smallest state in the United States, and make our way to Block Island. And Block Island was a stop that we had on one of the early two-tone Murphy group flights. We flew around New York City, or at least Murph did on his solo leg. A few of us kind of flew along on a different, on the multiplayer, whilst Murph was on his own. Then we all met up at Block Island and had our first multiplayer journey and went all the way up to, what was the name of it? Beverly Regional, just on the north side of Boston. So it's these fun little memories that are kind of fun to retrace every now and then. Especially because if you think about it, it's been that long ago, and they've updated the US since that little journey. So it'll be fun to see it now versus then. That's awesome, Randy. I've never been there in real life. In fact, I've not been... The furthest east that I've been has been Schroon Lake, New York, which we had our initial departure out of. And beyond that, I've only been as far east as Pittsburgh. Or, excuse me, not Pittsburgh. I don't know, what's more east? Pittsburgh or, Columbia, South Carolina? To our left, huh? Ah, it sure looks like. In Norwalk. Nice. It's also, it's either another group flight or it could just be traffic from Boston going in and out. Could also very well be very active bat sim area. It's not, Boston's not that active. Who knows? But it's good to see more people flying around this area. It's a lovely area. Just the happiest little airplane that ever was, because he's flying with his friends. See, the autopilot has the rudder kicked out to keep her on course from the crosswind. Spags is here. Like the title. I'm glad somebody got it. I'm glad somebody got the reference, because that song came to mind, and then I got to thinking about a flight plan, and I wasn't sure if anybody would have gotten it. So, internet points to Spags for getting the reference. Can't be that old. I mean, if someone my age understood that, or knows of the Bee Gees for more than just staying alive, I think I was raised right. There's Dougal. Barry, Maurice. There's the four brothers, including Andy. I am still on. I should still be on the East US server. I always forget one of the Bee Gees, and it's usually Maurice, but I remember Maurice. There's Barry, Andy, Maurice, and the other one. And I always feel stupid when I look up the other one. Robin. That's it. So, Barry Gibb, Robin Gibb, Maurice Gibb, and Andy. And the eldest of them is the only one left alive. The rest have passed away from various reasons, usually relating to cancer. There you go. I gotta be good at something. There's Red Dragon. Started in Australia, where I used to live. Never knew them personally, but said hi to them a number of times. They were school kids like me. Nice. That's pretty cool. Terrain artifacts on the right. Ooh, those are always fun to look at. Those are the ancient pyramids of Connecticut, or Vermont, of New England. They're not very well known, and they're very well camouflaged, because as soon as you get near them, they disappear. They're mythological. And some say they hold the power of New England. And it explains why the New England Patriots have so many Super Bowl titles. It's all true. I looked it up. It was on the internet. The first TV appearance was BTQ7 in an afternoon programs. Oh, nice. Let's make sure there's no terrain in front there. Oh, look at that mountain. Isn't that something? And look at the autopilot doing its job. It's got the whole beans into the crosswind. I mostly know of the Bee Gees because it's my mother is listened to them an awful lot. So growing up, I just kind of picked up on listening to them and enjoy the music. They do more than just disco. There's Wayland. I don't think I'm going all that fast. 105 knots, really? Not even a very hefty crosswind. Pardon me. Well, I guess it's just going to give it the full beans for the autopilot. Look at the state of that. See, now Murph needs to find some Bee Gees adjacent music for his streams on Epidemic. Look at that. Or New England artifacts. Kingsman's on my 6. Awesome. Whoop, there he went. There's somebody back there. Unless that's my tail. I feel like it's my tail now. Yeah, so far the only autopilot stuff that I haven't really looked into is approaches and departures and that sort of thing. Uh, Mostly because I don't care. Um, I'm more a visual approach kind of person. Kind of goes along with the whole VFR kind of gig, to which I find much more enjoyable. But I don't disparage those that do enjoy it. Just not my cup of tea, as it were. Not my cuppa. Google. Kingsman's caught up. I think Dougal's at just the right distance. Doing a nice job of it. As Wayland comes back into the frame. And Dougal, I do believe I got your message. I don't remember if I responded or not about the event in February. I'll make sure to have it on my calendar. And set that time aside. And stream it. And Dougal's dropping back. Got Merlin Flyer. Fast Pete. Uh-oh. Maybe that's why I'm listing so much. Where's the fuel switch thing in it? Well, that's certainly problematic. The usable gallons, it's under 10. Okay. As more. No. We're about 35 nautical miles out. Certainly has to have been contributing with the serious lean that my plane has right at the minute. And she is cranked. But doing it with a smile on its face. The happy little X-Cub. Yeah, I think it is. I've been only running on the one tank. Plus, there's a slight crosswind from the west. Add that together, and the left side was a little light compared to the right. It's a beautiful morning. That's no moon. That's a space station. The other group has joined us, it seems. I must not be seeing them, because I still see our normal group: Dougal, Kingsman, Wayland, Commandant Motley, Merlin Flyer, Red Pilot Randy, Magic, AAA, Red Dragon, Papa Joe B. Well, I'm just not seeing him in the right spot. There's Fast Pete up ahead. Either way, more the merrier. Always happy to have more folks along. That's possible. I definitely would not put me on the top list of entertainers, but I like to think that people at least enjoy what I do. seem to be mostly free of the mountains. Dealing with small hills make the land just a little bit lumpy. I'm glad Magic. Goodness. There's Kingsman. Breaking off. So we must be getting fairly close to our next stop. Go and hop in the cockpit real quick. We're still 20 odd miles out. Happened a real serious lean. My goodness. So I've been thinking about upcoming streams. That just means it's happy, Randy, right? Isn't that what it means? So I've been thinking one of the flights that I'm thinking of doing is kind of going to be structured a little differently than these. Most flights I have some sort of flight plan planned out. You know, make it easy to follow and so on. But I've had the thought of flying around the Solomon Islands, starting off at what used to be known as Henderson Field on Guadalcanal, and then just kind of flying around the islands and finding fun places to land. Kind of found a couple of different places that would be fun. What do you guys think of that? Pardon me. You won't be using autopilot on Simmons group flight. You won't get the chance. I don't even think the Cap 10 has an autopilot, so there's that. Let's see. Water everywhere sounds interesting. Yeah, no, I like doing history stuff, and I think one thing that when I want to have some sort of loose structure to have, like, I'll have a starting airport and I'll find an ending airport, but then I just kind of want to explore. And I'm thinking of inviting Azimuth back to, because, with the history that it surrounds the Solomon Islands and including some maritime stories. I'm sure having Azimuth around would be quite a blast to have him share some maritime history, as well as there's some, aviation history there. I should try bush flying in Papua New Guinea. Plenty of rust strips. That's definitely on the list, Spags. I did an offline or off-stream flight there a while back, and it's certainly got a good amount of places to try out. So it's definitely on the list of places to go. And Papua New Guinea isn't that far from the Solomons, so we'll see how it goes. We're about 15 miles out. An 8-minute ETE. Back on message Azimuth about that right now while I'm thinking of it. Randy just got buzzed by Merlin. I think there's a... It's like getting buzzed by a Merlin. And I just got buzzed by Kingsman. And I think the lane this thing is taking is really getting severe. Could be wrong, but it seems almost more of a lean than it used to be. So we should probably look at runway options. We'll probably, let's see. We'll go with runway 20. That's going to give us the best crosswind coefficient. Not that it's great, but it's better than having a rear quarter tailwind. So we'll fly over the field, circle around, and land on runway 02. Here, once we get to Southbridge. So you can definitely tell where Boston is, because that's where most of the traffic is. And we're just having a laugh over here in the less populated area of Massachusetts. And the lights went down in Massachusetts. So I do believe we just are passing Worcester, or Worcester Regional. A little off in the distance, but we're roughly nearby. That looks like a giant parking lot. solar farm. Gonna start dropping everything because that's apparently what I do now. Seven miles out. That's very true. There is a reason why it's referred to as New England. They were some of the first colonies established by the British Empire. In fact, I believe New York used to be New Amsterdam because it was once held by the Dutch and then taken over by the British a long time ago in a state not that far away. Seamus McNeil is in the house. Welcome, my friend. Hope you're well. Happy Sunday. You missed the most lumpy parts of the area. Now we're in the slightly lumpy parts. So we're gonna start thinking about landing here. Remember, runway 02. We'll overfly the field just so we can get a good look at it. Get eyes. Because you can't land in an airport you haven't seen. I mean, you can, but makes life a little bit more difficult. Bravo 0 coming up on the screen. Here we have the field in sight. So we're going to get in the cockpit and go ahead and disable the autopilot. Mixture and prop go to full. Another flight plan I'm thinking about doing is some of the airports that A2A Simulations has had on their channel for IRL content. Because they're little hole-in-the-wall airports, and those are just a lot of fun to fly in and out of. So I'll get down first so that I can record landings. Get ourselves in the white art. Thanks, Linda. More flaps. Let's just do full flaps.
500.
Thanks, Linda. I think I got my runways mixed up, but oh well. Too late now. Make it interesting. A bit of a bounce. The rudder into it. Alright, so we're down. I'm gonna go ahead and pull off to the side. Now the drone camera all set and going. I definitely said runway 20 and then we landed on runway 2. So the upside is there's a 2 in it. So it looks like Dougal McTavish will be one of the first. Everybody else is forming up nicely. So we'll get the camera in position. What a nice looking airfield. There's Papa Joe B. So the runway is open for landings. There's Fast Pete and Kingsman. Rad Pilot Randy's in. Red Dragon. Magic 888, Dougal McTavish. There's Wayland. We'll definitely take off using the opposite end of the runway, because I'm a goof and landed on the wrong one. As Commandant Muttley's in. There's Merlin Flyer. What else? I think that's all of our group. There's Papa Joe off in the distance. Look at that. You got a hill on this side, then a bit of lowland all around the rest of it. trees everywhere. That's just cool. Good to have you along, Magic 888. Glad you enjoyed it. We'll definitely catch you in the next time and catch you on the Discord channel. You take care of yourself. Alright, parking brake off. Flat down. Certainly is. It's just nestled in a nice little spot. So, Randy, if you would lead the charge on the takeoffs, we'll get up, circle around once or twice. Or I shall bypass to the left. Get going. Oh, there goes Randy. Flaps going up. There's avoidance. Thank you, Linda. Linda letting us know that we're 500 feet above the ground. Whalen's up. Papa Joe B's coming in. Roger that, Joe. Just saw your message. I apologize. Nice, just nice location for this little airfield. I am impressed. So it seems we're all up, so we'll resume autopilot navigation. So we may go a little lower to the ground. And let's do autopilot. So we'll stay nice and low because I don't think we're going to have too much terrain to worry about here on out. So we'll get low and enjoy sights. So we have the autopilot set to about 20 or 1800 feet. which should be just fine. Check my engine settings. Really don't need to go real fast. There's a Dougal. There's a Wayland. Absolutely, or a sunrise. So we're getting, now that we've passed the winter solstice, the days will slowly start getting longer again, which is great news for me. It was definitely, when I was working third shift, it was always depressing during the winter times because I would get up to go to work and it was dark out. Or, well, I'd get up, have maybe an hour or two of sunlight, go to work and it was dark, work, get out of work, and it was still dark. And then I'd go to bed while it was still dark so that I could actually go to sleep. And it's like I never saw the sun. It was legitimately fairly depressing. There are people that do well on an overnight shift, and I'm not one of those people. I need to have some sort of daylight. So we can officially say welcome to Rhode Island, the only state in the Union that you blink and you miss it. Sandwiched in between Massachusetts, the Atlantic Ocean, and Connecticut? Connecticut. We're actually flying over Connecticut a little bit in order to get to Rhode Island. We'll fly a little bit over the Block Island Sound, so a little bit over the water flying. Some awesome formation flying by Dougal. So we're about to fly over Woodstock, which explains all the wide open fields and such. There's Woodstock Airfield. It's listed as a private airport. Of course, that never stops those of us in flight sim because, well, we can go wherever we want, and the FAA can't say anything. Seems like a nice little airfield. Next airport we'll be flying over is Kilo Lima Zulu Delta, or Danielson. But even for being mildly lumpy, it's still beautiful to look at. Flying, it's just such a wonderful thing. Flight. Ever have a day where no matter what you do, you just can't get your body to wake up? Having one of those days. Of course, doing something relaxing as flying doesn't help because it's relaxing. Oh, for sure. Between New England and checking out my home state of Michigan in the fall would just be epic. Getting the change of colors on the leaves, and that would just absolutely be wonderful. And having trees without leaves would be nice for winter, most specifically. There's Danielson Airport. Odd place for the beacon. They put the beacon over in a over in a neighborhood, not on the airfield. Oh, how about that? It looks like a high school right by the airport. Wouldn't that be something? That's my kind of school, man. There's the interstate. No, I guess it's not an interstate, just a busy road. You can almost just get lost watching, or not lost in the lost sense, but just you forget what you're doing by looking at the ground and being like, oh, that's neat, and figuring out neighborhoods and whatnot. You don't get this kind of view from 30,000 feet. But at 2,000 feet, you can see an awful lot. It's kind of like you miss the tree for the forest. You see the you know, 30,000 feet, you can see the forest, but you miss out on the individual trees and the character that, you know, small things can give to a particular area. Now this looks like the interstate. But flying at this altitude, you can gives you an appreciation, because watching, I have some old video of flying with my grandpa, and we're flying coming into land, and we're flying over my hometown, and I'm seeing places that I know, and I'm going, well, gosh, on the ground they seem a lot further apart than they really are, and because from the air you can see both the places, and you realize that, well, gosh, it's not really all that far to begin with. That's one of my favorite things about flying, and especially low-level flying, is it gives you a new perspective on distance, and it'd be like, well, gosh, it's, you know, it's not that far away. Maybe that's just me. Now, luckily on this flight path, we don't have to worry about any Class C or Class B airspace. In fact, I don't even think there's any Class D. That was Danielson, so we should be crossing over into Rhode Island here momentarily. There's the river. This is one of the fun things about watching where you're going, is you can compare it in dead reckoning skills, knowing how to navigate using an aeronautical chart. It's a key skill to have when flying. It's easy to get too reliant on the GPS. GPS it's great, it's handy, and it's a wonderful thing. But it's too easy to get sucked into forgetting how to do old school navigation. Not that I'm an expert by any means, but an old school, a good, because you never know if something happens and your GPS goes out, and you can still fly and your radios work and all that, but if, you know, as long as as long as you can pick up on a VOR or an ADF, or worst comes to worst, just use Dead Reckoning. You can still navigate. Without all the fun doodads. And I'll never forget, you know, I'll never disparage the people that really enjoy flying the tube liners, because, you know, everybody likes what they like, and that's fine. But I was watching a streamer, and one of the guys that flies tube liners an awful lot and all the time can fly a 7.4, but you put him in a Cessna and he gets scared because he doesn't know what he's doing. And to me, it's hilarious, because how can you fly a 7.4 but you can't fly a Cessna? To me, it's just the idea is it boggles my mind. There you go, Dougal. You see, the most my grandpa had in his airplane was, the biggest thing was a handheld Garmin something. It wasn't even colored. It wasn't even integrated to the instrument panel, but he had a Loran and he had the nav radios, but that was it. It wasn't even IFR rated. They don't even have your favorite plane in here. I don't know which one that is. But it's funny to me in a non-disparaging way that you throw somebody that can throw information into a flight computer, into an FMS system, but they get scared when you put them in a single engine prop plane and say, go find, you know, where you're going. The tri-motor. I'm sure there will be at some point, without a doubt. Aren't many of those flying in real life either. I cannot wait, as far as transport planes go, I cannot wait for a good DC-3 or C-47. Yeah, 6 is not a big number of total planes flying of a particular kind. That's a very small number. For sure, Shavis. Without a doubt. Even if it's a conversion of a good quality FSX version, I'm sure we'll see something at some point. I mean, it's just a matter of time. I mean, I would happily pay for one as well. But the fact that we have as many add-ons as we do this close to the release is just mind-boggling. I mean, this was released in August, and now we have working carriers. That's nuts. Starting to see a lot more ponds. closer we get to the Block Island Sound. And more to the point, I think we're going to see a lot more aircraft put into this sim than previous sims, simply because this has reached a much broader audience than previous iterations. Because you have a lot of the hardcore, that have been in X-Plane for forever. But now that it's much more accessible, especially getting into the fact that it's going to be an Xbox and all that, I think we're going to see a lot more interest in add-ons moving forward, which is exciting because that's more for everybody. The other hand of that is the more accessible it is to people, the more silly people you get in, and the more silly people you get in, the harder it is to, have a dynamic or something. Which is why over on Two Tone Murphy's channel, we're getting a lot further progress on Join FS. I haven't been in testing it myself as of recently, just because I've been busy with some other things, but that is in and of itself. Join FS gives a much more controlled environment for community flying, and so I'm really looking forward to that development. Yeah, I mean, I love Air Force Proud 95's videos. I do. It's great, but most of the time that's not the kind of flying I want to do, and most of the people in the community, between Murph and myself, we're much more of the kind of a blend of, we like having fun, but we take it a little bit more seriously than that. Yeah, he is funny. It's just, it's one of those I like watching it from a distance kind of things. Not something that I would necessarily. That's not my personality. That's not things that I would do. But it's funny to watch from time to time. And yeah, Seamus, he can be quite a bit of a troll, but he's not exactly doing that accidentally. He's not meaning to be malicious. It's just he's doing it for the humor. It's just different strokes for different folks, as the saying goes. Yeah, we're being dangerous. That's usually when you start getting the button pressing. Well, hopefully, Murph, you enjoy that thing that I sent you, and that I hope you got that link and checked it out, and I hope you have some fun with them. Maybe one of these days we can get together and make some videos. Well, here's the Block Island Sound, and there's Block Island off in the distance. Hope Murphy remembers this little island where we stopped and from flying around New York City, and then made our way up to Beverly. Well, it's good to see you, K-Hov. Glad you enjoyed the flight. Hopefully your dinner is nice and tasty, and we'll catch you next time. I gotta start thinking about food myself here soon. No worries, Murph. So here's a closed airport in Charleston. One of the fun things to do in flight sim is, of course, landing at the closed airports. And we're already talking about food and stream. Hey, food's food, man. I love food. Looks like they've turned parts of this former airfield into something of a racetrack. That's kind of neat. Yeah, there's still plenty of room to land some small planes on. For sure, Andy. Well, you'll have to tell her that you flew over it today in flight sim. As there's the beach. So we'll look for runway 28 for landing. So we'll cut to the left a little bit. Go into heading mode. Find the heading bug. Heading mode. That way we can give ourselves a decent approach for runway 28. Suppose we should check the fuel tanks. That's getting kind of low. Probably switch tanks. You see Dougal out there, Red Dragon, Kingsman. There's Fast Pete, Merlin Flyer, Commandant Motley, Wayland. Now, Wayland, correct me if I'm wrong, but is that a reference to Wayland Yutani from the Aliens franchise? Because it sounds awful familiar. And close to that. I have to know. It's been on my mind every time I see your name. Gotcha. Like I said, I had to know for my own conscious sake. So very cool. So we're getting close to the island. Welcome to the Atlantic Ocean. More specifically, the Block Island Sound. But a small portion of the greater Atlantic Ocean. And if we look this way enough and really closely, we might see Ireland, and that might mean that we might see Murphy looking this way. Haha, gotcha, Waylon. So don't worry, Murph. We're just staring at you from a distance, a very, very long distance in the sim. So if you get that feeling like you're being watched, well, it's because you are. But at least it's friends, so it's not like it's weird. We can see you. Look, everyone. If you look real close, Murph's waving. Wave back. Oh, goodness. Gotta have fun. Fun. And that's been the wonderful thing about Flight Sim, is just the ability to have so much fun, have it, share that fun with friends, and have it involve flying. It's just been awesome. Alright, runway is in sight, so we're gonna ditch the autopilot. So prop goes to full. Throttle can kind of stay where it's at. Go back to prop off a little bit. So we'll start making our way in. We'll start our arrangements for landing. Murphy said he already ordered the first round of drinks at the airport bar. So we'll make sure to tell our bartender that. Get ourselves in the white arc so we can start using some flaps. Thanks, Linda. So we're a little low on the glide slope, but that's quite all right. Nice little airport. I think it looks even better now than it did during the Murph flight way back. A little bit of a bounce, but that's okay. Start dancing with the rudder. We're down. We took all the runway because I figure we paid for the whole runway, so we're gonna take the whole runway. We'll just park it right over here on the ramp. Absolutely. We'll get ourselves ready for landings. This was the spot of the first sighting of the two-tone Murphy Irish Air Corps livery on a 172. At least that I ever had. So runway 28 is cleared for landing. There's Fast Pete, right on the numbers. Well done. Google McTavish is in, right on the numbers as well. There's Kingsman. Glad you enjoyed it, Murph. Ooh, Kingsman, where are you going? We needed to get to the bar quick. There's Commandant Muttley in, followed closely by Rad Pilot Randy. You take it easy, Pete. We'll definitely see you next time and on the Discords, and you take care of yourself. You have a great evening. Papa Joe B is in. There's Wayland. Nice and stable. Glad you enjoyed it, Dougal. Look forward to the next one with you, and definitely if I have any questions on the upcoming February event, I'll be up as Red Dragon comes in. The nice stable approach, nicely done. Feel like we've got a couple more coming in. There's Merlin. You take care, Noel. Glad you had a fun time, and it was good to see you. And we'll definitely catch up in the next one. got to be more. Yep. This is, I wonder if there is. There is. As it's Leo the Lion has joined us. Nicely done, my dude. Take a quick look, see if there's anybody else. We seem to be all clear. Look at this island, though. The baseball diamond. A nice little island. We won't look over there. Look at that. This is a nice little island. Glad you enjoyed it, Randy and Joe. You all take a good, or you have a good evening. Take a good evening. Yeah, take it anywhere you want. So, that being said, do thank you all for flying along and watching along with me. Glad you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. Saw some very pretty scenery here in the New England area. Nice landings by everyone. But until next time, be good to each other. Stay safe out there. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.